You'd think being stuck in a school surrounded by nothing but killers, you'd actually be really happy to see your loving younger sister. But what if she's maybe just a little bit more dangerous than everybody else? Hello everybody and welcome to another light novel review. In this video I'm going to be reviewing volume number 3 of the light novel series Psycome. This one is written by Mizushiro and is released in English by Yen On. The series is actually complete in English at 6 volumes. You can pick up this volume by clicking on any of the links in the description down below to Amazon or the Book Depository. Now, it's been a long time since I've read any of Psycome, and I'll admit that what brought me back to the series was actually we were doing a podcast on it. In fact, as you're watching this video, hopefully the podcast for Psycome should be up in just a couple of days. This one, of course, the third volume in the series, it picks up after the events of volume number 2. Spoilers for that, obviously. That volume ended with sort of a epilogue with Ayaka, which is Kyosuke's younger sister, walking into her classroom with a shotgun intent on killing everyone so that she can join her brother. Well, it turns out that the shotgun actually didn't fire, it jammed, so she didn't turn into a murderer, but of course her intent was more than enough to land her in juvie and to get her transferred over to Purgatory High with everybody else. Kyosuke, of course, is pretty much horrified that his younger sister not only tried to do this, but that she is also now in this school surrounded by killers, a school that is actually aimed at turning its students into even better, more proficient, professional killers. And at the same time that this is sort of all going on, they're all trying to prepare for exams, and if you do well in the exam, if you're one of the top 3 students, you actually get parole to go out into the open real world. And Kyosuke actually, he had been aiming for that because he wanted to, well, visit his younger sister, and, well, kind of a moot point now. Now, of course, Kyosuke has a couple of friends that he's quite anxious to have Ayaka get along with, mainly so that she can, well, be protected when he's not around, because, of course, there's a separate male-female dorm. However, it turns out that Ayaka has very, well, strong feelings for her older brother. Strong enough that, well, she might just be really dangerous. This is probably honestly going to be one of the shorter reviews that I have shot in a very long time, because I want to be really blunt. This volume does not have a lot of plot. It does not have a lot of story. In terms of the school, it's just kind of following them as they go through their daily routine, except now that they've got a psychotic yandere younger sister in the mix. And in typical Psycome fashion, of course, Psycome I've mentioned in my previous reviews, I mentioned it in the podcast that we recorded, it is kind of like about the whole thing about taking everything to extremes. You know, like, oh, well, school life, great. How can we make that more extreme? I know, everybody is killers. How do we make it, you know, this and that? And it's just, it is psycho love comedy, right? It is just a little bit nuts in its approach, and so it's probably not all that surprising that Ayaka is, well, really out there as far as the jealous younger sister type, to the point where, I'll be honest, I kind of found it a little annoying. And I think maybe the reason that I kind of found it annoying is that up until this point, with the first 2 volumes, I found that we had a really good dynamic with Maina, Eri, Renka, and Kyosuke. I liked those characters. I liked seeing them kind of, you know, staying alive and figuring out how to get through the school. And of course, Renka being the complete wild card in the whole thing. And almost all of those characters get pushed aside in this volume. It focuses so much on Kyosuke and Ayaka. And I mean, Renka gets in there and she actually has some really good moments in this volume. That's probably the one thing that I will say definitely elevates this book, particularly towards the end. I have to say, like, I found it a little hard to get through at the beginning because it just was so much of the same, you know. Kyosuke talks to a girl, Ayaka gets angry. Kyosuke says hi to a girl, Ayaka gets angry. Kyosuke studies with some girls, Ayaka gets angry. Ayaka tries to kill everybody. You know, it's, yeah. But towards the end of the book, where we actually finally have something happening, like really happening, I found at that point, finally, I was engaged with the book, and what really made me, like I said, enjoy it was seeing Renka and how she acts in the end of the book. And just like all the other Psycome novels, this one ends with a little tag-on epilogue that, man, it really opens a lot of doors in this series. Considering this is only the third of 6 volumes, it suggests a number of things. It suggests that, you know, maybe Kyosuke ending up in this situation really isn't as random as what there might have first appeared, that it may have to do with more than just him and his fighting abilities. You know, we, of course, have the introduction of the character who is Renka's mother, who I believe is more heavily featured in Volume 5, because I believe Volume 4 actually focuses more on Eri and her family. So, all in all, you know what, like, it really has still some of the stuff that you like in Psycome, and it has some of the stuff that's a little bit annoying, like, well, there was a lot less breast jokes, probably because the other characters weren't as heavily featured, so we didn't have to put up with almost every other page being about breast insults. Either they're too big or they're too small. Don't get me wrong, there's still lots of talk about boobs and how big one person's are and how small another person's are. Like, they're just... that seems to be like an ongoing thing in Psycome, to the point where, yeah, it's a little tiring, but... and like I said, I just kind of felt like until we got near the end of this book and we actually got some decent character stuff going on, it didn't feel like a lot was going on in this volume. It just kind of felt like it really was focused on bringing Ayaka into the storyline and focusing the majority of its time on just how absolutely broken and messed up she is as a character. But at least, as I said, the ending does have a fairly good sort of resolution to it. It kind of resets a little bit more of the status quo. So I'm at least hopeful for future volumes in the series. My next review is at the request of my patrons, and that will be volume number 2 of World End. What do you do at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save us? Which I don't mind because I love the first volume of this, and well, I want to see how the story progresses, so that'll be my next review. In the meantime, thanks so much for joining me in this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye for now.